Dark secrets are unraveling, and the storm that began in episode 8 is only the beginning. The world of Blood of My Blood is about to descend into even greater turmoil, and every character is walking a dangerous line between loyalty and betrayal, love and despair, survival and ruin. Episode 8 tested every single soul. It dragged them through fire and humiliation, and it left scars that no one can erase. But what if I told you that episode 9 will go even further? That what we have seen so far is only a shadow of what's coming? This is the story of choices that wound deeper than any blade, of secrets that can destroy families, and of a love so fragile it may not survive the next cruel twist of fate. The day of the examination arrived, and with it, fear settled into every corner of their hearts. Ellen, unprepared for such public humiliation, stood at the center of it all. Her life, her dignity, her very future could be shattered in moments. Imagine standing there with men judging not just your honor, but your worth as a human being. That was Ellen's reality. Her brothers, the Mackenzies, looked on in guilt. They knew they were betraying their sister by agreeing to this barbaric ordeal, yet they pressed forward. Malcolm Grant shifted uneasily, caught between ambition and conscience, fearing Ellen's hatred once the truth became clear. Brian stood helpless, his chest tight with anguish as the woman he loved, no, the woman who was already his wife in spirit, was about to be disgraced before his very eyes. And then there was Lord Tovat, the only figure to smile amid this storm of dread. Detached from the pain around him, he was almost gleeful, a man who seemed to thrive on others' suffering. His presence alone twisted the knife deeper, and though the episode spared us from too much of his smirking face, every moment he appeared filled the air with unease. This was not just a trial of Ellen's purity. It was a test of every bond around her. Would love prove stronger than shame? Would loyalty outweigh ambition? And as the ordeal unfolded, it became clear that nothing in their world would ever be the same again. But even in the darkest hour, unexpected allies emerged. Julia and Henry, seemingly distant from the heart of the storm, found themselves drawn into Ellen's fate. Julia, sharp-minded and compassionate, carried knowledge that few others possessed. Her background as a nurse gave her the insight to protect Ellen in a way no physician of that era could. With a quiet plan, she armed Ellen against humiliation, ensuring the examination would not strip her of her dignity. Through this, Julia and Ellen forged a bond that felt unbreakable. Their connection was more than circumstance. It was survival. It was trust. It was the silent understanding between two women trapped by the cruel structures of their time. And through Julia's actions, Brian's devotion became undeniable. Even though Ellen did not see him, she knew in her heart who had brought Julia into her life at that moment of need. Love, invisible yet undeniable, bound them together even when the world tried to pull them apart. Ellen endured. She stood tall when others would have broken. She faced her brothers, her fiancé, and the judging eyes of men who sought to define her worth. When they pronounced her pure, her proud gaze was not gratitude. It was defiance. It was the silent declaration that they had not broken her, that she would no longer bow to their control. That moment did not end her suffering. It transformed it. The Ellen we knew was gone. In her place rose a woman ready to claim her era, her power and her dignity, no matter the cost. And yet, while Ellen's courage shook the room, another encounter elsewhere brought tears that no examination could match. Henry, long haunted by loss, came face to face with Julia once more. For him, it was like seeing a ghost. For her, it was certainty and hope. She assured him that what he saw was real, that they would meet again, that death had not claimed her after all. But Henry, broken, fragile, lost in his grief, struggled to believe his eyes. Was it a dream? Was his mind deceiving him again? This brief reunion cracked open wounds and promised storms ahead. Because when Henry finally accepts that Julia lives, his world will never be the same. And as for Episode 9, the shadows are only deepening. Episode 9 begins with anticipation thick in the air. Ellen may have survived humiliation, but survival is not freedom. She is marked not by shame, but by the expectations of others who now see her as a pawn in their schemes. Yet she is no pawn. Her defiance has awakened something fierce within her, and that strength is about to clash with the world around her. Henry and Julia's reunion hovers like a fragile flame, flickering in the wind of uncertainty. Henry's heart beats wildly at the thought that Julia lives, but doubt gnaws at him. Could his grief have conjured an illusion? Could this vision crumble into nothing the moment he reaches for it? These questions will drive his every action, pulling him closer to a breaking point. And as for Julia, her certainty is unshakable. She knows who she is, she knows the bond she shares with Henry, and she knows the danger of letting that truth spread too soon. She whispers promises of a future meeting, a reassurance that their story is not over. But will Henry's fragile state survive the weight? While these two wrestle with the weight of hope and despair, the absence of Lord Tovat briefly allows others to breathe. Yet that breath is shallow, because his shadow looms even when he is not in the room. And when he returns, the poison he spreads will not be words alone. His suspicions, his paranoia, his unrelenting cruelty, these will ignite new conflicts. And no one will escape untouched. Henry, already unstable, will be shattered when he learns the truth that Julia now wears another man's name. The revelation will rip through him like a blade. His heart, so long imprisoned by grief, will find freedom only to be crushed by betrayal. Betrayal not truly of Julia's making, but betrayal nonetheless in his fragile mind. His love for her will burn hotter than ever, but so will the storm of his doubts. Every choice Julia makes will become a balancing act on a knife's edge. To save herself, to save Ellen, to shield Brian, she will need more than cleverness. She will need to summon strength she never imagined. Yet strength alone may not be enough, for the forces arrayed against her are relentless. Meanwhile, Ellen's servant schemes in the shadows. Having accepted bribes to keep Ellen and Brian apart, she becomes the hand that enforces their separation. Each stolen moment between them will be hunted down, each spark of hope smothered before it can grow. But love rarely dies quietly, and their bond will test even the most suffocating walls. The twist, however, comes with Julia herself. Her bond with Brian, her quiet acts of courage, and the love that pulses unspoken between them will collide with a truth that cannot remain hidden. Julia is with child. Her pregnancy changes everything. It is no longer a matter of love or defiance. It is survival, legacy, and the kind of scandal that can burn entire families to ash. Malcolm Grant, blinded by ambition, will press forward with marriage plans, unaware of the child that threatens to unravel his grip on Ellen's life. For Ellen, this looming marriage is no salvation. It is a prison, and the closer the wedding day draws, the more suffocating her world becomes. Brian, desperate and unsuspecting, will feel the ground collapse beneath him when he hears of the marriage. His heart cannot accept it, his body cannot endure it. The weight of betrayal, the sense of helplessness, the collapse of every dream he clung to, these will break him in ways he cannot hide. The stage is set for episode 9 to deliver heartbreak, fury, and revelations that no one is prepared to face. But what happens when love becomes a weapon, when loyalty becomes a chain, and when secrets threaten to strangle the very people they were meant to protect? That answer lies ahead. The world of blood of my blood does not grant peace for long. Just when a sliver of hope begins to show, the storm grows darker, swallowing every promise of safety. Episode 9 will not be gentle. It will peel back layers of deception and force every character to face truths they can no longer ignore. Lord Tovat's return is the spark that reignites the fire. Fresh from treatment, he discovers that his health is perfectly sound. No weakness, no illness, nothing to excuse his paranoia. Instead of relief, this truth drives him further into madness. He begins to suspect poison in his very household, casting doubt on every meal, every cup, every servant's glance. Suspicion breeds like wildfire in his mind, and soon he begins to turn his venom outward. At first, his accusations strike Brian's mother, a vulnerable target who has no defense against his venomous words. But Julia, unwilling to stand silent, steps forward. She defends the woman with unshaken resolve, and for that defiance, she becomes Lord Tovat's new obsession. His suspicion twists into cruelty, and his threats grow sharper. He hints at punishment. He hints at ruin. And when he dares to threaten her child, the tension breaks into terror. Julia is caught in a tightening snare. She knows she cannot win by force, but her spirit refuses to break. Her every move becomes a game of survival, each word measured, each step chosen with care. Yet the danger is not confined to Lord Tovat alone, for while he schemes in plain sight, others maneuver in silence, plotting outcomes that could destroy far more than a single life. Ellen and Brian remain trapped by forces beyond their control. The bribes, the lies, the barriers placed between them, all are designed to suffocate their love before it can grow stronger. Ellen feels the pull of duty dragging her toward Malcolm Grant, while Brian fights the weight of despair pressing him into the ground. Every glance they share, every memory they hold, becomes both a weapon and a wound. But destiny does not rest. Julia's secret grows heavier with each passing day. The life she carries is no longer just her burden. It is a fuse waiting to ignite. Her pregnancy cannot be hidden forever, and when the truth emerges, it will change the course of every story entwined around her. Will it expose her to ruin? Will it ignite new wars between families? Or will it reveal a path to freedom no one saw coming? And then there is Henry. His heart, still fragile from the weight of grief, begins to crack beneath the revelation that Julia now belongs to another. His love is fierce, but his mind is unraveling. Hope collides with heartbreak, and the two battle within him until rage begins to surface. Henry does not want to blame Julia. He knows she is as much a victim of circumstance as he is, yet the agony of loss, the fury of betrayal, and the torment of longing will drive him to the edge. The stage is filled with players, each holding secrets, each trapped in a prison of their own making. And as episode 9 unfolds, these prisons begin to crumble. Not because the characters are free, but because the walls are about to collapse on top of them all. The question is not who will survive. The question is who will emerge unbroken, and who will be shattered beyond repair. The storm of episode 9 builds toward a breaking point, where every secret collides, every bond is tested, and every choice carries the weight of life and death. The shadows of betrayal hang heavy, but within those shadows, sparks of resistance flicker. Ellen, hardened by humiliation yet unbroken, begins to embrace her new strength. She is no longer the woman who bowed her head in fear. She is the woman who endured the judgment of men and emerged with her pride intact. Now her gaze sharpens with purpose. She knows the world is preparing to chain her to Malcolm Grant, but she is already plotting the key to her escape. Brian, shattered by the news of Ellen's marriage, sinks into despair. His heart is a battlefield of love and helplessness. He cannot accept a world where she belongs to another, yet he feels powerless to change it. Each step he takes is heavy, each thought a spiral of agony. But even in his collapse, the fire of his devotion refuses to die. That fire, hidden beneath grief, is waiting to erupt. Julia stands at the center of the storm, her secrets pressing closer to the surface. Her bond with Ellen deepens, their shared strength forging something that even betrayal cannot sever. Yet Julia's pregnancy is the secret that could burn everything down. If it is revealed, it will force choices that could either save them all or destroy them beyond repair. And then there is Henry. His world fractures as the truth shatters his fragile hope. Julia lives, but she belongs to another. His mind teeters on the edge, grief battling rage, love battling despair. What happens when a broken heart discovers the truth too late? What happens when love becomes indistinguishable from madness? Episode 9 will give us those answers, and they will not be gentle. Meanwhile, Lord Tovat sharpens his claws. His suspicions harden into threats, his cruelty grows bolder, and his presence poisons the air. He believes himself untouchable, the master of every piece on the board. But every tyrant forgets one truth: power is never absolute. His grip tightens, but the tighter he holds, the more certain it becomes that someone will rise to strike back. The walls are closing in. Ellen faces marriage she does not want. Brian sinks into despair. Julia carries a life she cannot yet reveal. Henry spirals toward madness, and Lord Tovat watches, ready to tear down anyone who stands in his way. But destiny does not wait. Secrets cannot stay buried forever. And when episode 9 reaches its peak, revelations will explode like fire across the night sky. Who will rise? Who will fall? And who will pay the price when love, loyalty, and survival collide? The answers lie in the heart of episode 9, and they will change Blood of My Blood forever.